Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
The biggest enemy of your pump, of the motor in your canister filter, is abrasion. It can actually take that pump and just grind it down and actually make it worthless. There's something you can do about it, and I'm going to show you. Let's go. Let's take a ride to a local fish store and see if they have the materials that I'm going to need for this project. I need to have a particular kind of substrate, a particular kind of rock for this. This is a local go-to place, Pasadena Tropical Fish Pets. Let's see if they've got what I need for this project. It's a very big store. It's been around for a long time. They have a lot of selection in here, but I'm not really seeing what I need. They've got the right color, but this is definitely the wrong size. I'm gonna need something a lot bigger than this. Well, I wanted to support my local privately owned fish store here, but he didn't have what I need. So let's go check out the local big box store, see if they got it. But first, a car wash. Between COVID-19 and semi-retirement, my car's been sitting around a lot, picking up a lot of dirt, dust, bird poop. Let's go ahead and get that cleaned up so this car's looking sharp. And let's take a ride through the car wash here. That's much better. Don't know what you think about these big box stores, but when you need one, they come in pretty handy. This is the one next to my place. It's the PetSmart. I've done videos on it before. It's a pretty clean shop all around. Probably one of the biggest PetSmarts in existence. It's like acres and acres of pet supplies. Lots of aquarium decor and substrate. A lot of different colors and sizes. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing what I need for this particular project. They have a lot of variety. They have a lot of tanks, a lot of fish selection. I've done several walkthroughs on this PetSmart. Let's take a look at this. This is the size I need, but I want them in black. I think I may have to go somewhere else. While I'm here, and also get something for the dogs. It looks pretty good. I think maybe I'll have some. I was out of luck there. At least I got some dog food. Let me check one more spot. Sometimes for this kind of project, the best thing you can do is go to a garden shop, because they sell these kind of materials that I need. Let's take a look at this one. This is Armstrong, not too far from my house. They carry a lot of high-end products. Let's take a look. This looks really, really good. This looks very close to what I'm looking for. Not too expensive too, under 10 bucks. And it's polished river rock, black. Nothing sharp that the fish can get scraped on. I like it. That was a lot easier than going to a big store like a Home Depot. Much prefer going to a small shop like that. There's another PetSmart just around the corner here, right next door. They might have had it. But that's that PetSmart that I did a video on a while back. And I swore never to go back there after I saw so many sick fish. The other PetSmart's my favorite, so I don't mind going to that one. All right, let's get this done. Be sure to really rinse. Anything you're gonna put in your tank, no matter where you get it from, always be sure you give it a real good rinse, just to make sure it doesn't have some kind of chemical or detergent residue in it. Rocks are usually pretty easy. It's not like gravel that gets a lot of dust. is running off pretty clean. Yeah, these are pretty much ready to go. Ready to be dropped in the tank. Got them. Pretty good looking rocks. Cichlids are notorious for getting mouthful of sand and spitting it out. And I had to replace this purge valve. And when I did, I noticed that there was a lot of sand inside of it. I think it served as an abrasive. And it's also, I've also had to replace the top valves on this FX6. Sand might have played a role in wearing down some of the O-rings that resulted in leaks. So I'm not going to take any chances. Even though with this sponge filter, which I put on after I replaced those valves, things have been going a bit better. And but when I rinse the sponge filter, I do notice that some sand comes out of it. So I don't want to take any chances. So I'm going to go ahead and create an area below the intake that has rocks. And that way the fish can't just scoop up a mouthful of sand and spit it right out and have it go right into the intake. I like to keep my intakes low because that way it pulls some of the water that has less oxygen, which is near the bottom of the tank, pulls it out, and when that water comes splashing back in, it will oxygenate. So it kind of helps to keep the oxygen and temperatures of the tank fairly even, to have those intakes low. The downside of that is that with a low intake, you are more likely to get some substrate, sand in this case, into the intake and ultimately into the pump, where it can serve as an abrasive on both the pump itself, the motor, and also the any valves that you have. So let's go ahead and lay out these rocks. And the first thing that sort of shocks me a little bit is how black they looked when they're in their container. But now that I'm putting them in the tank, probably because of the contrast between the color of the rocks and the sort of midnight black substrate and the very black background, the rocks end up looking a bit gray. This happened to me one time before with some aragonite that was supposed to be black in a 135-gallon tank that I had set up. Turned out to be more of a gray than a black. But let's go ahead and lay these out, and you can see it's a little perimeter extending out several inches from the base, from the bottom of that intake. So that's going to keep fish from being able to just scoop up sand and spit it up on top. And even though it's not a guarantee, I mean, they can still pick up a mouthful and carry it quite a ways. I had a few rocks left over, so I decided to go ahead and fill in some low spots. I run 2 power heads and of course the outputs of the FX6, and those create a lot of water movement. And I have a couple low spots where sand just continually gets blown around and pushed, and it results in some low spots right there around the front of the tank. And in the front left corner, it's practically a bare spot. So I'll put some rocks there to help fill that in, since it's sort of a high flow area that gets blown around too often. So here you have it, and you can see the fish are already acting a bit curious, wondering what the heck's going on. They're not shy. They probably eat right from my hand if I put it in there. But you can see they're exploring around. I don't mind the look. I would have preferred a rock that was more black, but for now this will do. Maybe I'll swap them out at some point. And but I think it's gonna do the job and serve the purpose. Let's look at the tank from another angle. Yeah, not too bad. I think I'll maybe move some of that zebra rock on the left over to the right, so I have 2 distinct types of rock formations in the tank, left and right, and that way there isn't such a contrast. But I don't know. I don't mind the way it looks. You can tell me what you think in the comments below, and but overall, I think it's going to do the job. The clown loaches are already sticking their snouts in between the rocks. That's what they do. They like to scavenge around. They love to get their heads in between things to try and find a morsel of food that another fish might have missed. So there you go. A real simple safeguard against fish, especially African cichlids, picking up and spitting sand directly into the into the intake of your filter, serve as an abrasive and grind up the motor, grind up that pump. So, some rocks placed around the intake is going to make it just a little bit less likely. Doesn't mean that a cichlid isn't going to carry a load of sand a little distance and still spit it into the intake. But between those rocks and the sponge filter, I think the likelihood of getting some sand into my intake is actually pretty slim. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment below and share your thoughts. Have you tried something like this? And have you found sand inside your filter, especially inside your canisters? I'd be curious to find out. And let me know what you did about it. All right? Thank you so much, and be sure to tune in on Saturday for the Cichids and Coffee live stream. That's at 10 a.m. most Saturdays, all right? 10 a.m. Pacific. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.